All right, so let's talk about decentralized finance, or DeFi. It's sold to us with this incredible promise of a financial world that's open to everyone, totally fair and transparent. But what if I told you that just beneath the surface, there's a hidden game being played in the shadows, a high-stakes game that affects every single one of your transactions? So first things first, we've got to tackle this core tension in the space. It's something the Bank for International Settlements calls the decentralization illusion. It's this constant clash between the big, grand vision of DeFi and how it actually works day to day. And yeah, this quote just nails it, right? The dream is this pure, leaderless system. But the reality, any system, even one that runs on code, needs rules. It needs governance. And the moment you have people making decisions, well, you've got some level of centralization. It's just inevitable. So you have this promise on one side, open access, no middlemen, a perfectly level playing field for you and me. But the reality is something else entirely. It's a hyper-competitive, dark forest full of hidden power structures. And that is the environment where our story really begins. Okay, so where is this dark forest? What does it look like? To really get a grip on this hidden game, we have to understand the arena where it's all being played. Let's step inside. So every time you send a transaction, whether it's a simple transfer or a complex swap, it doesn't just instantly appear on the blockchain. Nope, first it lands in this public waiting area. It's called the mempool. Honestly, the best way to think of it is like a giant transparent lobby where everyone can see everyone else's moves before they're officially recorded. And that transparency, well, that's where the opportunity lies. And this, my friends, is where we get to the heart of the matter. That opportunity has a name, maximal extractable value, or MEV for short. It's the profit that really sophisticated players can squeeze out of the system just by seeing your transaction in the mempool and messing with the order. They can cut in front of you, they can put trades on either side of you, they can even block you completely, all to extract a little bit of value for themselves. You know, there's this amazing term from a science fiction novel that researchers use to describe this whole thing, the dark forest. The idea is that it's a place where broadcasting your location is a death sentence. And sending a transaction into the mempool, it's kind of like shouting your plans out loud in a forest you know is full of hidden, advanced predators. The second they see you, you're a target. And look, this isn't just some abstract idea. There's this wild, true story about it. A user messed up and trapped $12,000 in a smart contract. A team of good guy hackers put together a rescue plan, a special transaction to pull the money out. But the very instant they sent that rescue mission into the mempool, a predatory bot saw, figured out what it was doing, copied the logic, paid a higher fee to cut in line, and swooped in to snatch the entire 12 grand for itself. That right there is the dark forest in action. So this whole thing, it's not just chaos. It's actually a very structured game with its own rules, its own players, and its own strategies. Let's break down who's actually playing this game and what they're trying to pull off. You've basically got four key players in this MEV supply chain. It all starts with us, the users. Our transactions are what create these little pockets of value in the first place. Then you have the searchers. These are the hyper-optimized bots, the predators, hunting for those opportunities. They package their strategies up and send them to the builders, whose job is to put together the most profitable block they can imagine. And finally, you've got the validators, the proposers. They're the ultimate gatekeepers who get the final say on which block actually gets added to the chain. So what kind of opportunities are these players looking for? Well, the data shows that the huge majority of it, we're talking around 80%, is just simple arbitrage, exploiting tiny price differences between exchanges. And honestly, that can be good for the market. But then you have the other stuff, things like liquidations, and the one that really impacts regular users, sandwich attacks. Right, so even though arbitrage is the biggest piece of the pie, the one you really need to know about is the sandwich attack. It's probably the most infamous kind of MEV because it directly targets people like you and me. So how does it work? How do you end up as the filling in the sandwich? Okay, so picture this. A searcher bot sees you're about to make a big purchase in the mempool. In a flash, it jumps in front of you, that's the front run, and buys the exact same thing, which pushes the price up just a tiny bit. Then your trade goes through, but you end up paying that new, slightly higher price. And before you can even blink, the bot sells its position, the back run, locking in a risk-free profit from that price difference. You've just been sandwiched, and you basically paid for the bot's lunch. So what gives? Is this just the law of the jungle? Are we all just doomed to be prey forever? Well, not exactly. The community is fighting back. The ecosystem is actually evolving and developing some pretty sophisticated ways to tame these predators and make the forest just a little bit brighter. The first major step forward was getting away from these chaotic bidding wars called priority gas auctions. It was a total mess. Bots would just spam the network, driving up transaction fees for literally everyone, just trying to get their trade included first. The solution? Systems like Flashbots, which created a private off-chain auction. Now, searchers can submit their strategies in bundles directly to builders. It's way more efficient, and most importantly, it moves all that chaos off the main network. And that brings us to the next massive step in this evolution, something called proposer-builder separation, or PBS. This is a huge, fundamental upgrade to how Ethereum itself is designed. It formally splits the job of building the most profitable block from the job of simply proposing it. And the goal here is to make the whole system more decentralized. The whole point is to stop validators from getting way too powerful by turning the act of building a block into its own competitive market. All right, so where does all this lead? It starts to raise some really deep questions about the future of finance, about how value gets created and captured, and, who's really in charge of these new systems. The game is changing fast, and the stakes are getting higher every day. And this leads to a really big, kind of scary question. What happens when MEV isn't just limited to one blockchain? What about cross-domain MEV? Is it an existential risk when the predators can hunt across multiple forests at the same time? Yeah, the big fear here is that a handful of extremely sophisticated players, the ones validating blocks on lots of different chains, could just completely dominate the market. They could spot opportunities that nobody else can see and, over time, create a powerful oligopoly. They could become the new gatekeepers, basically extracting rent from everyone else and totally undermining the whole point of decentralization. But, and this is a huge but, there's a final twist to this whole story. Who actually creates these opportunities in the first place? We do. It's our transactions. It's called order flow. And there's a potential future where our wallets and apps actually start auctioning our order flow directly to the searchers. And in that world, instead of being the victim, you get a piece of the action. The value being extracted could come right back to you, maybe as fee-free trades or better prices. It completely flips the script, putting regular users in the power seat once held only by the most dominant players. And so that's where we are, left with this massive question. As this hidden game finally comes out into the open, will it evolve into a system that's actually fairer, one that returns value back to its users? Or are we just watching the creation of a new, way more complex, and maybe even more powerful set of gatekeepers? The game is still on, and believe me, the final outcome is a long way from being decided.